that would be Mr. Phelps.
Yes, sir. Bow our heads. Father, we just come to you this evening, thanking you this day that you provided us with. We thank you for this opportunity to be here. Thank you, Lord, for each councilman that is here, and I ask, Lord, that you give them the wisdom to make the decisions that's best for our city. Lord, I ask that you bless all of our city employees. They have a thankless job, dear Lord, and we just ask that you bless them through the days that they come. We just ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Rowell, would you please pledge allegiance?
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you all. Start out with approval of minutes from July 1, 2025. We have a motion to approve as written. I think we heard a second from here. What?
Question
Just question.
on the second page,
Page 2.
old business,
Mhm.
last paragraph,
Yes, sir.
fourth line. Per Wilson, this works out to be a 10% increase for each officer. I understand in the long run that's what it was, but in the minutes, this refers to $1 raise above. So I moved to strike, this works out to be a 10% increase for each officer.
So it was the $1 plus the earlier $1 that makes
There
it
was
10%.
one over,
so-
but there's only one referenced in the minutes.
Well, we can put a line to that and be no trouble. 10%.
I mean, this is the permanent record referring to $1 raise being a 10% increase.
Clerk, see.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes, so then are we amending the minutes? Do we have to have another? We do.
Are we amending the minutes, or are we changing?
The motion was to approve, then there was a motion to amend. So you have to act on the motion to amend.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make that motion. A second.
Could you repeat what the motion would be then to strike?
On the second page, the fourth line starts per Wilson, comma. I would strike, this works out to about a 10% increase for each officer. Just that wording.
And the rest of that sentence as well, or?
No, I mean, the rest of it's still appropriate.
Well, maybe, for Wilson, this increase for each officer is at no additional. I think we need a little word in there. Just say this, just take out, works out to about a 10%. So this increase for each officer is at no additional. Something like that.
I will move that substitute.
The clerk was a little busy picking up the flag,
Well, I know
but you got the
Mr.
notes.
Rasmussen was getting it.
So it's for Wilson, this increase is at no additional taxpayer cost.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody on the council knows the motion that on the floor. Any other changes? All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? All right. We'll move into the city administrator's report.
You just called on me.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the strategic planning session, and Councilmember Lisa Dry and I had talked about this because there's a little bit of a difference in language, and I had been talking about a strategic planning session, which is short-term, and that would be for us to meet for an afternoon somewhere here in town and talk about what you would like to have as your priorities for this year's budget, the one we're working on now, and that would be in preparation for getting next year's budget done. And that would be done here in the fall. The thing that Lisa was talking about is actually the update on the comprehensive plan. I have a copy here that I've showed most people. It's 1965, and so what she has done is worked hard to get a grant to do a new comprehensive plan, which would be long-term, which would be 5 or more years. And so my proposal was to ask the council to do a short-term strategic planning session so we could get emphasis on what we want to do in the short term and get ready for the next budget. And then Lisa was working on the comprehensive plan. I was going to ask her then if she could talk about what she was doing in addition to what I was talking about.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rasmussen. You guys have heard me talk about strategic plan, for 2 years now, and that terminology is not consistent with what we're talking about. So comprehensive plan is the correct terminology. And as you know, we applied and working with the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission to the Delta Regional Authority for a grant to fund this work. And we did receive the grant. It was nearly $60,000. And so there is a Zoom call with them this week that kind of kicks everything off, and we're excited to get started on this process. And after waiting for more than half a century, I guess it's probably time. But anyway, this plan is going to guide our city's growth and priorities through the year 2032. So it's not short term, is what Steve was just talking about. As a part of this, there will be a steering committee to help lead the process, and this group will represent a broad cross-section of the community. It will be between 14 and 16 people. We have an application that will be available soon on the City Hall website, as well as a job description. It's something where people will have to be engaged. If you sign up to be and are selected for the committee, you're expected to work, not just show up for meetings once a month. And we have some hard copies tonight for anyone who's interested in seeing that. Now this steering, and the application deadline is July 31st. We think people will sign up pretty quickly for those who are interested. This committee will also review the results of our recent survey. I think you remember we've had a survey that people could fill out with QR codes or hard copies or whatever. We received 275 responses, which kind of exceeded our expectations. So thank you to everyone who completed that survey. And Dale, thank you for the Nutrition Center, sharing that information and making it available, as well as the chamber who helped to promote it as well. So anyway, and if you're not chosen to be on the steering committee, there will still be other opportunities to be involved. There's going to be some town halls. And as far as the process for this, we'll be working very closely with Jim Grieving and Christy LeGrand at the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission, who are our partners on this and who were very instrumental in helping us to get the grant written properly and submitted. And so I'd like to invite Jim to talk a little bit more about the process and what to expect.
Yeah, okay. Here,
Maybe up there. Just who you are and who you represent,
Okay.
for those who don't know.
I'm Jim Grieving. I'm the Executive Director of the Boot Hill Regional Planning and Economic Development Commission. Been in that position almost 3 years, that role and so forth. And so what we do, we work in the 6 Boot Hill counties: Scott, Mississippi, Madrid, Scott, Dunklin, and Stoddard County. We have about 62 cities. Obviously, Kennett is the second largest city we have. Tyson is first largest, and also the others. And we've got a lot of smaller communities, but we appreciate the opportunity to work with the city of Kennett on this project and others. We do different grants that the city applies for. And one of the functions that a lot of planning commissions do in the state of Missouri, 19 of us all together scattered around the state, work together on a regular basis, are helping with a comprehensive plan. And so a comprehensive plan, as was discussed here, is a longer term plan of about 5 years. So we get up into 2032, which seems like a long way, but not really all that far. And so as part of the process, we secured the grant for that, to do that. So the first step in the process, getting the grant, was to conduct the surveys, have those done, and That's giving us some good information to use, and in the process of going through those now, we'll share that at appropriate time with everybody, so people kind of know how everybody is thinking, views on the community, and the issues are important to them. The second part of that, the other input, community input, comes in some town hall meetings that will be held. They'll probably be, probably have at least 2 of those will be held at, probably later this summer, very early in August and September. It'd be a chance for everybody to provide some input, and part of the process of that is also to inform the community kind of what the state of the community is in terms of just things like, you know, what some of the strengths of the community are, kind of an assessment of, you know, right, wants to know kind of type of housing that Kennett has, how many different types of housing units are here in the community. We can talk about amount of land available for that's being used for industrial development. We can talk demographic information about how many people come into Kennett every day to work, how many leave every day to go to work. You know, and I remember this another time, there's about 152,000 people living within an hour's drive of Kennett. Those stats, which help kind of see that just what is the potential draw for the community has and people coming into the area. So we'll have that kind of information and kind of show how Kennett compares to other towns in the region and so forth. And from that, get a good feel for what the community looks like today. One of the challenges you have when you're doing a plan is people can't come in and say, we need J.C. Penney back on the square again. That's just not going to happen. That's a nice memory of a day gone by. So it's a matter of being realistic and sort of setting the stage for where the city is now as you begin to move forward for the next 5 years. The components of this would be simply the town hall meetings and everything. The key part of this is to have a steering committee that would be potentially appointed by the city council with good cross-representation of the city. And I think it's always helpful in these planning processes if the number of council members that serve on this committee have a few but not too many, so that you have opportunity, the appearance, and better citizen input. And then that group will meet about once a month or as needed and look at the information that was gathered in the surveys, look about the information that's provided in the town hall meetings, and kind of go in and take a realistic look at it in different areas. For example, things that potential spots on how to improve the business climate in the community. Housing turns out to be a concern. How do you address those housing concerns? One thing that's important in the plan is, I'll give you an example on housing, is you talk and you say we need more housing in the community, but it's good to kind of define what kind of housing, not just does the community need, but is it best for the future of the community. And so the decision might be made, we really need more workforce housing that individuals could own in the community and have more home ownership, taking pride in the community and so forth. And so maybe that becomes a priority, not only based on need, but it's also good for the opportunity for the community to grow in the future. So make those kinds of decisions as part of the strategies and so forth. So you go through that, all the issues, all the areas of services the community provides, and the steering committee looks at that. They're really instrumental in moving this forward. Different times you may seek input from members of the city staff. Obviously they've got expertise in their areas, and other times they feel like they've got an area that's underrepresented, they might go out and get input on certain subjects with a specific group or demographic area, that sort of thing. It just kind of moves through the process. Ultimately, a number of goals are set up, and then strategies to achieve those goals and action steps and so forth. One example this plan will not do is, we'll do plans, we'll include studies, for example, things like can do a land use study, because obviously we need to look at, you know, how land is being used in our community, what's available here that can be used for other purposes, whether it's for potential site for housing or for industrial development, other retail sites, kind of identify those, but also because you're impacted not just by the city, but what's around, so you reach out and that map would reflect a half mile, a mile, whatever seems to be the best fit, and so that would be part of the plan. You take that into look. You kind of have to look at the neighborhood as well. It's just strictly a community. And so we certainly do a land use study that would be available fairly quickly to work from. If, for example, if stormwater is a big issue here, obviously, and if the stormwater plan is needed, there's not going to be, there might be a strategy. We have a problem with stormwater or local infrastructure, and so there might be an action item to conduct a stormwater study in the community. The resources are not there in this grant to do that detailed study, but with the stormwater funds the city has, it's certainly appropriate to use that for a study, and so that may be a recommendation that comes out of it. So this process will continue on a regular basis. The Planning Commission will have 2 or 3 participants in each meeting to help out. The discussions are held, and when something researched or looked at, we've got the ability to do that, bring that information back to the Planning Committee and move forward. Ultimately, we'll do the draft of the plan, move through the various steps and guide this to completion. The time frame depends on kind of what all's discussed and everything, but certainly would like to have this completed within a year. The grant provides for 18 months, but that's sort of grant speak. We certainly hope it to be done sooner on that. We'll kind of let the process guide the time that it takes. But I think this will be an exciting opportunity. And the thing about the comprehensive plan is really important. The last thing is you need to know, it's an important plan, because if you don't have any plan, you've created a plan to fail. We all know that. And so as you're looking for grants, trying to choose for grants, I know the city's working on 2 community development block grants. It helps you prioritize what grants you're going to go for, what local matches, city resources you're going to apply to that, because your plan, you've already thought out the detail. It also provides some stability. The community understands where the city is headed. As members of council change, as city staff changes, somebody says, well, why are you doing this? Why do you do this? And it's in the plan, so you've always got the plan to go back and refer to. Obviously, it's reviewed annually and updated as needed and so forth, but it's a process, and it just kind of gives you a roadmap to follow, and helps everything from making decisions on personnel you may hire, areas to focus more revenue to, or opportunities to grants you might pursue, and a lot of opportunities. So I think it's going to be an exciting process. We've been involved in a couple of these plans recently. Christy LeGrand is my lead on this, and she's done great work for hazard mitigation plans. And we did a countywide, or a 6 countywide comprehensive economic development strategy that some of you may have been involved in over the past year and a half. And so a lot of what we're able to bring to the table also is we're doing some regional studies right now related to housing and other things, and so that would be a chance to, so the data being gathered by that could be applied specifically to Kennett and Plainfield. So look forward to working with you. We appreciate the opportunities on this, and also appreciate the responsiveness of the city staff on the things we need. There's a lot of paperwork involved in any grant, and we can't do that without a good responsive city staff. That's very important. So thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Right.
Okay, any more questions then for Jim? All right, well, let me go on to the second thing I have under the city administrator report, and that is parking pavement. And what happens, we have talked about doing pavement on the parking at Jones Park and at Indian Park. The Jones Park is smaller and the Indian Park is a larger part, but if we did all of the parking on those 2 areas, which I think council has talked about before, the estimate for that would be about $176,000. was with the Parks Committee last night, and what they said, the Parks Board, they said that they would like to donate the $25,000 to that if the city could do the rest. Now, I did want to let you know that in the transportation tax now, there's $1.85 million, and we looked at the tax documents, and we could use money for that for doing parking lot. The mayor and the chairman of Park Board had talked and came up with maybe something more. Mayor, did you want to comment on that then?
I would like to add, I think it would be wise or be good of the gesture, good win-win for the park system and our citizens if we allow them to keep their $25,000 and use it for facilities. And that's what, speaking with the chairman, they would put the facilities, they're planning to do some more, another pickleball court, backstops on the ball fields, lighting at Jones Park, and lighting at the soccer fields. We have the money in transportation tax. I think it'd be good use of funds to use the entire portion from transportation tax and use the $25,000 they want to donate for improvement of the facilities.
And if we use that $25,000, we've got $1.8 million in it, so the $25,000 doesn't make a whole lot of reduction in that.
And this parking lot at Indian Park is for the soccer fields. It's not for the ball fields or baseball fields. There's a gravel parking lot that's been used for several years. That's the area that would be paved.
Where Jones Park?
Jones Park, Mark, you want to take that? You looked into that a little bit
One of the
further.
parking at Jones Park would actually be part of the street we're talking about, right? So what we want, Gerald was trying to explain to him one day, that road is a lot wider than a normal road. So we could actually put parking spots in there where the end of your vehicle's not sticking out in the middle of the road, is that correct? What we're talking about? So,
Angled in.
yeah.
On the ninth.
On Ninth
Ninth
Street.
Street. Ninth Street.
So right now, if you park right there at the angle, your vehicle's sticking out in the road. But if you take, you're not actually taking away from the road because the road is bigger than it's supposed, pavement's wider than it's supposed to be anyhow. So if we could just add to them parking spots and line them out and everything.
And we could possibly have this done by the cruise truck then.
I don't know what to talk to Gerald about that. I don't know.
The contractor's supposed to have most of the work done by the summer, right? Or am I mistaken?
When is the cruiser event?
September 6th.
It'd be close.
So you're talking about changing the angle of the striping, is that correct?
No, you would actually take away, you're not, it looks like you'd be taken away from the road, but you're not because the road's wider than it's supposed to be. So yes, it'd be at a different angle and your car would be hanging out in the road there.
Is it repaving the street as well as the
Yes.
parking area? Okay. Would we pick up any additional spots possibly?
Not
No.
parking on
Okay.
the road.
No, because you'll lose some from, if you do it right.
Street.
Up in there, you'll lose.
Street measured out at 30 feet. 24 feet, plenty big enough for a street, so they give you 6 feet there, and there's 11 feet of that parking area. They give you 17 feet. Park your vehicle.
Does this price include striping then?
It does not.
No, we had talked about that, but Gerald had talked about, I don't know if we can do that ourselves or not.
Actually, the park, I've asked
Does he have
Chairman
striping?
today, he's gonna be getting the price on striping all the new parking lots
And
and Jones.
Okay.
That probably makes it safer too for the people who walk behind their vehicles or
absolutely.
whatever.
That would need to include center stripe then, if we're gonna reduce the 30-foot lane to record street of 24. You need to have to do the center stripe if you're gonna use that 6 feet off the
Right.
existing pavement.
We've talked about having them price that also. Sound good to you, Chair? Sound good to you, Steve?
Sure, and I think unless we have some objection from the council, I don't think we need any action from the council now, but at this amount of money, I think, and Mr. McVeigh, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we'll have to send it out for bid, and then what we'll do is we'll bring it back to the council for approval once we get a bid on it. Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, the next item you see is the drainage ditch, District Number 2, and we talked about this again before at a city council meeting about what we do about the drainage ditches. I talked to Mr. Harris, who is the chairman of Drainage District Number 2, and the drainage ditch that we've got in the city is actually two parts. It's half is Drainage District Number 1 and other is Drainage District Number 2. They're having their annual meeting on the 12th of August and invited us to come with our stormwater committee and anyone else there and talk about it. They have very, very little money. They only have barely enough money to keep the water running in it, so it would require us then to contribute the additional money to that if we wanted to do some things to help improve that. And so I was going to recommend that we meet with them at that meeting on 12 August. We discuss what we can do with them, because we would be using our stormwater money probably to work on their project. Our stormwater fund currently has $2.2 million, so we have a lot of money in there for stormwater, but fixing those ditches is also going to cost a lot of money, and we could use that as an opportunity to discuss it and see what options might be available if the council would be willing to do that.
Any objections to that?
Okay, good. I'll get that invitation, the times and the dates, and send it out to everybody. And if the stormwater fund there and anybody else would like to attend, we'll have a joint meeting on that and see what we can do.
Do you think it's time now we look at pricing, what it might cost?
Absolutely. We'll come back with some estimates on that, because it'll be expensive, and it just depends on how much we want to do and how long we want to do it. We'll get some estimates on that.
Maybe a linear foot?
Yeah, that's probably it, yeah. And, you don't have to do it all at one time. You can do portions of it as it would be best to do it and eventually get there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the next two, item D and E, are the CDBG grants. And I wanted to mention that because the first one is for demolition, the second one is for community facilities. But the deadline to get those grants in is the 25th of July. Which is right around the corner, but Jim and Regional Planning was working on that. And then we also had to have a public hearing on that, and the date for that is scheduled on the 22nd. We'll do that here, and Jim will also be here to help us with that public hearing. But that had to be posted 7 days before the hearing, which is the 15th of July, which, oh, by the way, is right now. And so prior to 5 o'clock today, we posted that, and so the information on those two now is public information, and we'll have that hearing on the 22nd, and I hope, Jim, you'll be able to join us for that. And then talking with Jim at
Is that one
length
time
on...
at 5:30 or 6:30? 6:30.
One's at 5:15 and one's at 5:30.
And in talking to Jim, we've got a lot of details to do, but we'll make the grant deadline of the 25th, and then we'll travel, hopefully, that we can get those grants, because both of those will be very important for projects we're working on. Okay, and thank you very much. That's all I had in the administrative report, unless some committee chairman have something else they would like to add. Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Sir?
I would like to say one thing. Lance kind of goes out of his way sometimes to go out and mow extra for us, and he helps keep up with the mowing, and I appreciate him doing that.
Great, thank you.
All right, old business. Item A is Kennett Chamber of Commerce marketing plan.
Yes, we brought this up first time last time, but we wanted to talk a little bit about the marketing plan. And Lisa and I had talked to Christian about that. And Christian, I think you've got something you'd add to that for us now.
Mayor, Council, after the last meeting, met with Steve and Mr. I to just compile some more information into a more detailed marketing plan for you, which you should have in front of you tonight. So as you all know by now, over the past several years, the city of Kennett has contracted with the chamber to manage the city's tourism efforts. And in this packet, it just lays out some of what we do. So the chamber will target advertising in West Tennessee, Northeast Arkansas, and North of Kennett in-state to try to entice tourists to come for different events that we put on.
I'm not gonna go through this word by word here, but there's 3 pages laid out if you want to look through that. Primary objectives to boost tourism more FY '26. We have